So I thought I'd make another recipe today. I'm going to make gluten-free cranberry loaf, which is really nice toasted. It's probably best toasted. It's nice fresh straight out the oven, but it's at its best toasted. The thing is with gluten-free things is they're quite hard and a little bit strange, the texture, no matter what flour you use. So toasted is best. Preheat the oven to about gas mark 5. I'm going to add 2 eggs. Two normal sized eggs. Whisk them up. And add to the eggs about 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now I've only got dessert spoons here, so I'm going to add 3 dessert spoons of sugar. To be honest, just add as much sugar as you want, but don't put too much in it. This is a little bit on the fly. Just mix that up. And probably best to add a little bit of salt as well. Depending on where you live, you can get iodized salt. If you don't get enough iodine in your water, then it's good to have the iodized one. Don't need to add salt if you don't want to, it's an optional extra. And then add some cranberries. Add as many cranberries as you want. I'm going to add that many. If you don't like cranberries, then you can put raisins in it. I've also made this with date. It's quite nice with date. Or any other dried fruit that you feel like having. Or if you don't like dried fruit, then don't add dried fruit. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. It's one of those adaptable recipes. I'm going to put 8 ounces of rice flour in this measuring thing. That's the technical term, measuring thing. 8 ounces is just about right. And to the 8 ounces of flour, now I've got rice flour, but you can also use any sort of preparatory gluten-free flour. You can get quite a lot of different ones. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of gluten-free baking powder. Then you just add the flour to the fruity, eggy, sugary mix and just mix that up. Probably at this stage you'll find it's a little bit thick. So what you do is just add a little bit of soy milk or rice milk or milk to the mixture and you mix it all up. Just add as much milk as you, well, just dribble it in, just put a bit in. That's probably still not quite the right texture, so just add a bit more. And just use your skill and judgment and just keep adding until you get sort of battery mixture. That's probably just as well. If you want it to go a little bit further, keep hitting the spoon there, that's quite noisy. There you go. You're going to need a loaf tin, and if you don't have a loaf tin, then I would suggest that you buy a loaf tin, because you will need one to make a loaf. Spoon the mixture into the tin. I say spoon, this is actually a fork. It doesn't matter, just get it in. Although, saying that, a spoon would be better because you can actually get the whole lot out with a spoon. With a fork it's a bit harder. And then just make sure it's fairly evenly spread. And then you bake that for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how hot your oven is, because if it's quite a hot oven it might do it quicker, and if it's not such a hot oven it might do it slower. Electricity and gas seem to do it at completely different rates, And if you've got a fan oven, then it's probably going to be done before you put it in. Oh, I forgot, you can also add mixed spice if you want. Mixed spice is a very good ingredient as a sort of alternative. So you can either have it with the mixed spice or without the mixed spice. And like I said, any fruit that you want really. Then when you've taken it out of the oven, empty it out onto a cooling tray. Now this one isn't particularly brown because I used rice flour. I made some with a different sort of gluten-free flour a while ago and it's a lot browner. So it really depends on what flour you use, what it's going to look like. But it really doesn't make much difference to the taste. Of course, if you want, you can always use wheat flour in it and then it would be more like a conventional loaf. But I've made it gluten-free because I can't eat wheat flour and a lot of people can't. So, you know, just use your initiative. Add things, take away things. You know, the same thing that I always say when I make these silly videos. Just add stuff and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, then eat it anyway and try it better the next time. If it does go completely wrong, never mind, feed it to the budgie and hope the budgie is alright afterwards.